All you need are some basic tools, seeds, and containers to sow the seeds. Egg cartons are a great alternative to containers while germinating seeds. They're easy to find, free, and biodegradable. A couple of weeks after the seeds have germinated, we can just remove that particular portion of the egg carton and place it within a container or the garden, and the egg cartons would get degraded naturally. I cut the upper portion of the egg cartons and make sure that they form a good base for the bottom portion, because sometimes when we add some water while the seeds are germinating, there's a high chance that the egg carton could start getting disintegrated. Our containers are ready, and sometimes we also get these tags from the seeds packet. Use them. It's very helpful. Let's add some potting soil to our egg cartons, and then we would be ready to sow our seeds. So now that we have a base, it looks good, it looks safe. Let's use our tools. They're just basic tools that I bought from the dollar store or the euro store. Fill the egg cartons with just enough soil to help germination. That should be good enough. Now we are all set to sow seeds. I'm going to start with spinach. Whoa, this is how the seeds look like. They are a bit bigger than what I expected them to be. Anyways, so let's start sowing them in the egg cartons that we prepared. Drop just one seed in each of these depressions, and make sure to drop them right in the middle, because then they have optimal space in all directions for the roots to grow. They shouldn't be too deep, but they should also not be just at the surface. You can also add a thin layer of potting soil after you've dropped the seeds. Add a base so that water doesn't leak when we start spraying or sprinkling the egg cartons with water. Now add just a little bit of water. You can sprinkle or spray water on the egg carton and keep it aside. Okay, time to sow some tomatoes now. Let's add some potting oil in a bigger egg carton. Okay, time to sow the seeds. My recommendation would lie organic seeds, but for this I have some seeds that I bought last year just before summer, so I'm just going to use them. As always, try to place the seeds in the middle. Make sure they're not too deep, but also not exposed. Gently press them or add a layer of soil on top of them. Okay, I just realized I'd like some more spinach. So I'm going to sow some of the spinach seeds on the side. That should be good. Like I mentioned earlier, I use the tags that we get from the seed packets. It's really helpful for identification, so let's just add a tag here. And finally, sprinkle or spray some water on the seeds to make sure that they're moist. But the important thing here is they shouldn't be totally wet. They should just be moist. Sweet peas germinate very quickly and grow very fast. But I would recommend to use such small containers, sowing them directly instead of using cartons. Let's fill the small containers with soil, and I'm sowing 2 seeds per pot. That should be good enough, and the seeds wouldn't compete for space or sunlight. Gently press the seeds to make sure that they're not exposed, and sprinkle the pots with some water so that the soil remains moist. Carrots. It's my first time sowing carrot seeds. I'm pretty excited about it. So here I'm preparing a larger pot to sow carrot seeds. Let's fill it with soil as usual and get it ready for sowing the seeds. I bought organic seeds this time, and as you can see, February is a great time to start sowing the seeds. They've described the different steps here, which is great. But we're going to use the container now because I just have a balcony and not a big garden. So let's start sowing the seeds. Make sure to distribute the seeds. Don't sow them very close to each other so that each seed gets enough space and would get enough sunlight and water to start growing. Everything's ready, and at the end, let's just water the soil lightly. Remember, the soil has to be moist but not wet. Make sure to sprinkle water every day or whenever you see that it gets dry, and then wait for the magic to happen.